swear me and medical schools must have a mismatched HLA typing, because it was just rejection after rejection after rejection. Actually, I got one interview and then I got a rejection. Yo, it's didnt back again, offering you cortisol lowering content. I'm gonna try providing you with energy via passive diffusion, because today's video is on my journey to medicine. Now, it was a long filled journey filled with setbacks and rejection, but it was God having a deep understanding of my why and hard work that got me where I am today. Now, my journey starts off in New Cross, South East London. I lived in New Cross for 11 years of my life, and at that time it was full of gang violence and stabbings, and it got so bad to the point where they've actually made a movie based on the area which I grew up on over here. I say this just to set the scene. No, I didn't grow up in a one-bedroom shack, and no, I didn't grow up in a cancer estate. But it shows you can be a doctor and get into medical school no matter what part of the country you grew up in. Now, this is where my life has turned upside down. Now, I'm not going to go into too much details. Honestly, I'm going to save that for another video, so make sure you stay tuned. So yeah, at the age of 11, I was diagnosed with a very rare cancer. I had a brain tumour known as a pineal germinoma. Now, this cancer is extremely rare. About 1 in a million people actually suffer from it every year. And this is what completely changed the direction of my life. Now, at the time of my diagnosis, I was in my final year of primary school, which was year 6. My primary school tasked us with writing what we want to be in the future after we leave primary school. And now I listed 3 dreams. One of my dreams was a footballer. Why? Because honestly speaking, I was a mini Thierry Henry. I was packing in goals like an entrepreneur. The second thing I wanted to be was a lawyer. Why? Honestly speaking, because they made money. I was an 11-year-old kid who only wanted to live in a mansion, drive a Bugatti Veyron, and have an infinite supply of match attacks. And then the third thing I listed that I wanted to be was an Olympic sprinter. Why? Because I was the fastest in my school. I had more pace than Greggs, Colgate and Oral B. But I digress. So when did I actually want to become a doctor? So my consultant asked me what I want to be in the future. I realised at that time being a footballer and being an athlete was out of the picture. My skills did not translate into secondary school at all. And being a lawyer sounded a bit more boring. I realised I also understood and I really enjoyed biology a lot more, and I understood my diagnosis a bit better. So I told her at the time that I want to be a doctor. Now, I didn't know too much about the role. The only thing I really knew is that the cliche term that they save lives. Now, the second thing that happened to me during 2012 was options for GCSEs. So at this time we had to choose what route we wanted to go down. Maybe we wanted to do triple science or art and all of those stuff. And I took this very, very seriously, and I decided to do a bit more research into what it's like being a doctor, and then I realised that this is probably the route I really want to go down. Now, this then led me to moving schools. Why? Because I realised that I wanted to be a doctor, and I found out about this brand new school that was opening. It was like no school I've ever seen in my life. This school had a simulated ward in it. However, as good as it was sold to us, it turned out to be one of the worst performing schools in the country. 2014 now, and I am 16 years old. Now, my consultant realised I was a bit more serious now when I said that I want to become a doctor, and so she very kindly offered me a shadowing placement, and this shadowing placement really did just like change my life completely and my whole outlook on things. Now, on this placement I saw many things, went on ward rounds, etc, and all of those stuff. However, there was one part where I went to see a consultation, and I was with a 6-year-old girl. When I looked at this 6-year-old girl, it was almost like looking in a mirror. She also had cancer. I had cancer, but I've obviously gotten through it and treatment was successful. However, at that young age, I was looking at her and I was thinking, she has no idea what the devastation that this disease can actually cause. And I wanted to help her, but like obviously I'm a 16-year-old boy, like there's nothing I can really do. And that really did solidify why I want to go to medicine, and it's to help people like her. Because honestly, man, I felt like God was speaking to me that day, and it was like, yep, this is the route you need to go down. This is the route you're gonna go down. Now, GCSEs came around and I didn't do well. I only got 1 A during GCSEs, and then we went into A Levels. A Levels, I done even worse. I actually ended up getting 3 C's in biology, chemistry and maths. Both of which I'm gonna do a video on in the future. So things at this time was looking bearish. So I decided to go into biomedical science. I actually got rejected out of all of my offers because I didn't meet any of the entry requirements, because my entry requirements for biomed in my 4 choices all required ABB, and obviously I got 3 C's, so I got straight rejections there. And so I had to go through clearing, and through clearing I then decided to go to the University of Hull to study biomedical science. Now I chose biomedical science simply just to offset my poor GCSE results and my poor A-level results. And it worked. I graduated with a first class honours. And now I was back on track, turning my dream into a reality. At this time I also sat the UCAT exam, and I thought I was gonna smash it because I was a graduate. I thought I'm gonna walk through this exam. And normally I'm a good person, but this time I was the mean. I done bang average. I got 620. It was the 50th percentile. This then meant I only had a small pool of medical schools to actually choose from. So I picked Aberdeen, Barts, Anglia Ruskin and Glasgow. Now I swear me and medical schools must have a mismatched HLA typing, because it was just rejection after rejection after rejection. Actually I got 1 interview and then I got a rejection. However, after these 4 rejections, a random YouTube video popped up on my suggestion, and it actually said why God makes you wait. After this I knew it was all part of the process, but to what extent was unfathomed. Now after my rejections, I was stuck between doing a master's or working. Now I decided to do the latter. Why? Because if I took a gap year and I worked, that means I could save up money just in case I actually did not get into graduate entry. And so if I had to do undergrad medicine, then I'll be able to afford it somewhat, at least put some money down for that if I took a year out and work. So I started my first shift at King's College Hospital in a liver ward, and I loved it. It was full of so much banter, so much learning. It sharpened my bedside manner. I became more empathetic and also improved my clinical skills. And so at this time I also reapplied to medicine for the 2nd time. Now my UCAT score improved a bit. I went from 50th percentile in the first time I took it to this time being in the top 30%. However, it's still not in the top 15%, so that then means graduate entry is kind of out of the table now. So I had to go and do undergrad medicine because my UK CAT score simply not high enough to be competitive. Also, didn't take GAMSAT, and I also didn't take the BMAT. Honestly speaking, I do regret not doing that because you never know what the outcome could have been. So this time around I applied to Aberdeen, Barts, Anglia Ruskin and Kent and Medway. And about a month later, UCAS started sliding into my DMs. I welcomed it with open arms. It was 4 interviews. So what would the new year bring? 4 offers, new experiences, and holidays with new friends? Bro, it brought Corona extra. Luckily for me though, I managed to get all my interviews out of the way in person. And honestly speaking, I thought I smashed these interviews. If you saw my interview booklet, it was about 24 pages long. But it worked, because in April I got my first offer, and it was from Clark Kent in Medway. And I felt like the Pointer Sisters. I was so excited. and I just couldn't hide it. After all the hours I poured into trying to get into medical school, it finally paid off. However, I also got my first rejection, and it was from 180-degree angle Ruskin. They rejected me a second time. I swear down that university just does not like me. However, I really wanted an offer for my top 2 choices, Aberdeen and Bart Snow Simpsons. In May at the time, I was killing the floor. I was working in the hospital. I was back on the liver ward doing my thing. Then I felt my phone vibrating, and it was a notification, so I ran into the toilet. And it was UCAS sliding into my DMs again. I clicked on the email and opened it, and boom, it was an offer from the Aberdeen team. I then wheeled out the toilet like Conor McGregor. The nurses must have thought this guy has had a successful NMR attempt. I'm happy for him, and I did not care. I told them the good news that I got an offer, and they were so excited. And then a week later, it was deja vu setting. It happened again, and I ran into the toilets again, and it was an offer from Bart Snow Simpson. You can only imagine that this is what a high feels like, man. And I wanted to continue up, but then I felt high. But then after deep thought, and I promise you I wasn't high, I then decided to pick the Aberdeen. I then planned in September to make the 500+ mile trip to Aberdeen. And honestly speaking, if I actually really deeped it, there's medical schools in Paris in France. There's also medical schools in Frankfurt in Germany. Both of those medical schools are actually closer to my house than Aberdeen. But I'm actually technically a quarter Scottish, so I actually just came back just to reclaim the land. That wasn't it. There was still some more good news. Teens Unite, a cancer charity that I'm a part of, their links in the description as well. They called me up and told me I got an interview on Good Morning Britain with Blackpool Brighton, Piers Morgan and Susanna Reid. It was my 15 minutes claim to fame. I felt on top of the world, and that was my journey to medicine. Listen, there's probably someone out there who was in a worse situation than you are today, but a way you want to be. Now don't forget to subscribe and don't get high, people.